If you're an introvert, you might think that you don't need a career ambition because you don't really strive for a leadership role. You don't want to manage a team, and you certainly don't want your boss's role. You don't want to be the face of something. But the problem is, if you don't have a clear direction, you're going to get stuck. And even worse, others will not know how to guide and support you. Now, most people think that having a career ambition means wanting to be a leader, and that is not true. There are so many different forms of career ambition. It could be striving for deep expertise in something, being the go-to expert in your field. It could be creative autonomy, impact-driven work, or being behind the scenes of something that feels really meaningful to you. All of these are great career ambitions, and what they do is they give you direction. And without that clear direction, your manager, your boss, your senior leadership, they will not know how to guide and support you. And you will end up with vague opportunities that are potentially not right for you. Now, having career clarity does also not mean knowing your exact job title 10 years from now. God knows what that will look like. But it means knowing what energizes you, knowing the kind of problem you see yourself solving on a daily basis, and the kind of people you want to be surrounded by, the kind of environment that helps you thrive and be at your best. Here's the thing. Introverts are actually at an advantage when it comes to career clarity. Because we're naturally introspective, we think deeply, we reflect a lot, and that level of self-awareness is key to understanding what it is that you really, really want. Now, most people kind of drift through their careers, not ever really questioning whether they like what they do, whether they're in the right place. But we ask ourselves that question all the time. We're overthinkers, and this is the one time where this is actually a good thing for us. Because self-awareness is the biggest predictor for long-term career satisfaction and finding that fulfillment that we want. But the problem is, and you will know this, we can easily get stuck in this constant loop of overthinking, questioning, and that prevents us from taking action. So today I want to share a simple way to turn that introspection into real career clarity for you. Now, a quick ask before we dive in. If you find this helpful, please share it with somebody who could use it too. And then like and subscribe for more low-key ways to stand out at work without shouting. Now, instead of trying to figure out your dream job, we're going to focus on the elements that make up your dream role. Some of the things that need to be true in order for you to feel at your best, in order for you to thrive and feel like you're in exactly the right place. Now, what I have for you is a 3-question framework of very simple question prompts that are just a little different than what you'd normally ask yourself. And what they do is they give you this beautiful mindset shift of the things that really, really matter when it comes to career satisfaction and finding fulfillment. Now, the first question is, what are the kind of problems that I enjoy solving? Every job exists to solve a problem. What are the kind of challenges that you are curious about? Now, for me, what I enjoy doing is making complex things simple through visualization, bringing it to life in presentations. I love nothing more than spending 2-3 hours of focus time on a presentation deck, on PowerPoint slides to bring to life the right story, the right visualizations for the audience that I'm preparing for. Now, I am a sucker for this, and I do need to admit that I am good at this, to think about, what is the right message I want to bring across? How do I tell this story? How do I visualize this in a way that is going to be really impactful? And it's not just for the benefit of creating something that's pretty, but this is what helps me influence. It drives alignment. It helps me get word out about what I think is the right course of action with senior leaders and stakeholders. So it is not to be underestimated, and it is something where somebody else might run for the hills when they hear about this challenge. Oh, we need to create this PowerPoint deck, or we need to create this presentation for this stakeholder. But me personally, this is what I naturally gravitate towards. This is my kind of challenge. And I want you to dig a little deeper and understand what are the kind of things that you feel naturally pulled towards. Others might run for the hills, but the kind of challenge that you feel like you want to take it on. You're going to actually enjoy yourself solving this problem. The second question is, what are the kind of people I enjoy working with? Now, you don't need to be a leader, but you do need to know the kind of environment that helps you thrive. Now, in my career, I have had both experiences. I have had teams that I thrived in, that I felt really, really good being a part of. But I've also had experiences where that wasn't the case. And especially early on in my career, where I had different priorities, where I prioritized the kind of problem that I wanted to solve, the kind of experiences that I wanted to make, and focused a lot about the role that I wanted to take on, and not so much about the environment that I would then be in and day out. And you know this, the people at work are the ones that we spend the most time with, and they influence how we feel so much. Now, for me personally, that is so true. I am this chameleon where I take on the energy around me. I am very much affected by the kind of people I work with day in and day out. If I have somebody sitting next to me at work who is just complaining all day long, hates their job, and is very, very vocal about it, that affects me to a point where I get really, really unhappy. So I want you to really think about what is the kind of environment that you thrive in. For me, I want to be surrounded by people that are career driven, that are motivated, that want to make a difference, that want to move the needle in a way that is meaningful, impactful. I want to be with people I can learn from and I can grow with. I want to be with people that are a couple of steps ahead, that I feel like I can look up to, I can level up being in their environment. And it's overall a good, positive, optimistic vibe. Now, this is different for everyone. So you need to ask yourself that question. And you can also think about past experiences. What were the kind of environments that you felt really good at? And what were the kind of environments that drained you? Because at the end of the day, it's the people who make up how fulfilled we feel, how happy we are in a role that we do. It is not just the job itself. Now, the third question, and this is especially important for introverts, is what is the kind of work that energizes me versus drains me? Now, for us introverts, it's super important to think about energy management. You want to pay attention to the tasks that fuel you, that give you energy, versus the ones that drain your energy. Now, also the element of your social battery comes into play here, because your social battery is quite limited. And this doesn't mean that you cannot socialize. This doesn't mean that you cannot take on clients, that you cannot be in sales, that you cannot do marketing, none of this. It just means that you need to be mindful of your social battery, of how much you have to give in any given day, and that you can always retain your energy through a good balance of tasks that energize and fuel you and tasks that drain you. Now, I would say you want to strive for an 80-20, 80% of tasks that give you energy, that make you feel fulfilled, and 20% of things that take some of your energy and that take a little bit of effort. In an ideal world, this is what you'd be looking for, but there are different seasons in your life. And this ratio does not always need to be this exact thing. Especially early into your careers, you might take on a role that you know is going to be 50% of the time. It's going to require a lot of your energy, it's going to drain you, will require a lot of socializing, will require a lot of putting yourself out there and extroverting. And that is not a bad thing. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be taking on this role. You can absolutely do this for a certain amount of time, say 2 to 3 years, in order to gain this experience. And then you know that you need to move on to something that feels a little more aligned, that allows you to refuel a little bit better and gets you to that 80-20 split in the long run. Consider the different seasons of your life, what you have to give, how well you can manage your energy at work and then outside of work. But this is always something that you want to be mindful of. I would even say, write these things down. When you go about your day at work, you should pay attention to the kind of things that fuel your energy, that give you energy, that make you leave a call or a meeting feeling good about yourself, feeling energized. And then also the kind of things that do the opposite, like that make you feel depleted, that make you feel like, I've had a day, I've spent so much time in back-to-back meetings, back-to-back calls. This is it for me. This is what drains my energy. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't do these things. It just means that you need to be mindful so that you can strike the right balance, so that you can change your calendar accordingly and make sure that every task that drains your energy is followed by a time that you can use to refuel. And you will always want to make sure, in order to find that fulfillment, and especially when it comes to finding out what you want to do in the future, what your career ambition is, you want to look out for the kind of things you love doing now that give you energy, and want to make sure that whatever decision you take for your future, whatever job you take on in the future, is going to have those elements, is going to be energy giving for you. Now, these 3 questions are killer questions, and I'm sure when you ask yourself these questions, you're going to end up with a lot of rich data points, with a lot of things that you know about yourself and that you know about the kind of work that you want to do in the future. Now, it's not going to give you a job title or an industry or a company that you need to be in, but it gives you these various different elements that help inform your career decisions, that make up your career ambitions, and that you can articulate whenever you're being asked about the direction that you want to take in your career, whenever you're being asked, where do you see yourself in the future? Knowing what you want is only half the equation. The next step is to make sure the right people know. When you're clear on what it is that you want in your career, you can start to communicate that with your manager, mentors, even your peers at work. The right opportunities will start coming when the right people understand your direction. So you want to share your interests and your career ambition in your career conversations, one-to-ones, even team meetings. You want to drop hints about what it is that excites you and the kind of challenges that make you curious. This is how introverts build careers without shouting, by letting clarity do the work for them. So if you ever feel stuck in your career, start with those 3 questions and then comment below and tell me, what is one thing that you know you want in your career? And let's talk about it. Now, if you found this helpful, subscribe to not miss the next one, because we're going to dive even deeper on how to position yourself for the right career opportunities. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.